All right, folks. So, welcome to our KV Core Success Meetup Spooky Special Part 2, Halloween Custom Pages and Email Follow-Up. I do want to mention last week on Wednesday, my fellow trainer Brett also did a sort of spooky special, so to speak, about updating your website for Halloween. If you wanted to do something like use a spooky video background, have the coding that adds bats to your website. He does a whole walkthrough on how to do that. I'll show you exactly what I mean in a second once my background loads up. There we go. So here's my demo KV Core website. Grabbed a video background, and we've got these fun bats that fly all over the page. So if you want to know about that as well, that was a past success meetup. I have made sure to include both the support article on how to do that, how to update your website for Halloween, and also the link to the video as well. So some of you guys may have clicked because you heard something about website updates was going on today. If you want to do those designs, that's a different video. Today we'll be talking about kind of creating custom pages. So last week, if you guys weren't with us last week, we talked about planning free lead generation posts that are Halloween inspired. If you're not already familiar in your KV Core platform, in the lead engine, you have the power to create your own free lead generation tools. You've got landing pages, which you can design with whatever content you like. You choose the background image, you choose what the text says, and you can have users sign up here and redirect them to another page, another resource. So this landing page I created last week, I'm advertising, hey, you want a quick link to the best haunted houses in San Diego? Sign up here for a free list. And they would sign up and I would redirect them to that page. Now, I mentioned last week there's lots of ways that you could do this. You could send them to a Google Doc. That could be the page that this landing page links to. I could create something like a custom page on my website that maybe has those haunted house recommendations. We'll talk about creating one of those today. And then additionally, you could schedule a mass email that maybe has that information. So lots of different ways that you could do this. And haunted house information, really what I did last week was just a quick Google search, haunted houses in San Diego, looked at a couple different articles and kind of pulled examples from there. Now, if you're someone who's lived and worked in your area for a very long time, feel free to rely on your own expertise, or you could even turn this into a competition. Poll, some of your current clients and people that you're talking with. Hey, what would you recommend as a great haunted house? What would you recommend as the perfect pumpkin patch place to go grab apple cider? Place to go trick or treating, and you could compile your own list that way and share that information out. So lots of ways that you could do that. So landing pages were a lot of what we talked about last week. You can also create things like text codes through KV Core. The concept here is you're creating a code that someone texts, and when they text that code, it's going to capture their phone information, add it automatically to your CRM, and you can choose what kind of follow-up message that they automatically receive. So again, you could send them links to an outside source. You could just, have a text message of information that they're, receiving when they reply. So different ways that you could do this. We did talk a little bit about adding squeeze pages to maybe the end of your custom page or other areas. A squeeze page, just so you are aware, these are really quick and easy to create, but there's really only a few varieties. You're a little limited in what you're creating with these squeeze pages. It's either going to point users, or I should say squeeze users, back to your KV Core website to look at multiple listings, a single listing to direct them to your website to sign up for a free market report, or a home valuation. So just four main types with the squeeze pages: multi-property, single property, seller, and market report. You might see sold multi-property depending on your MLS. But since those are pointing to listings or pre-created pages on your website, not exactly what we used in our situation when we were creating advertisements that are Halloween specific. So we used landing pages last time and text codes. I definitely still encourage you guys to create squeeze pages if you haven't already. Those are great just to post to your social media for any occasion. But let's talk about some of those lead generation post ideas. So I mentioned haunted houses are a great one. This concept may or may not be new to you if you've been in real estate a while, but the concept of a haunted or not so haunted open house. If you have a listing and you're able to do an open house on or around Halloween, use that as an occasion to really get the neighborhood involved. Promote it as a haunted or not so haunted open house. Encourage people to dress up, hand out candy, add spooky elements to your advertising, to your decor. So you could make landing pages that promote your open house, and you could post that on various social media pages, make some flyers, add it around the neighborhood, let the people in the neighborhood know. So that's one idea. And then, of course, local events or places where they could gather, haunted houses, pumpkin patches, apple picking. Any time of the year is a great option or a great opportunity to promote any fundraisers that you're involved with. Now, I know a lot of people probably think about helping out food kitchens, Habitat for Humanity, maybe closer to the Thanksgiving and Christmas holidays, but it's never too soon to start. And I would say, especially for Halloween, I'm sure there's some animal shelters out there that are probably, potentially as the weather changes, taking in more animals. So now's a great time to promote those as well. So you could create a landing page that promotes that out and shares information on how people can help. So if you want to, get involved, that's a great idea as well. And then best trick or treat locations is a great idea as well, especially if you have the opportunity or if it's available to you to be present at one of those trick or treat locations. I know nowadays it's even more popular rather than, just going around a neighborhood. There's a lot of trunk or treat events where there's a location, a parking lot, some sort of safe space where a lot of people will gather in their cars, in their trucks, and share out candy, share out treats from their trunk. So you could do the same thing, be present at that location with your own little gift bags. Have some candy, have your business cards or treats on hand to share those out on Halloween night. Now you can also host a spooky contest. Great way to get your clients, your sphere contacts, past clients involved, offer deals or offer some sort of prize for best family costumes, best carved pumpkin, best home decor, and use that as an opportunity to also post that on your KV Core page. Maybe even lead them there, create a custom page where they can go and vote. Maybe you include a link in that custom page to a Google poll or some sort of Google quiz where people can, choose which home decor they liked the best or which costumes they liked the best. So getting attention not only to your website, but getting lots of groups involved. And if you want to keep it simple, again, you can search online for Halloween craft ideas, fun, festive recipes, especially if you've got some ones that personally that maybe you've passed down through your family, used at potlucks before. Feel free to, just craft a little email message. You could even link to another resource online that you found, or you can type it out yourself. And those are great ideas to share when you're trying to attract users. Create a landing page with some of those ideas, and you could even create a whole follow-up campaign, for several days in a row or for the week leading up to Halloween. I guess we're getting a little close here. So maybe not the week leading up to Halloween there. But you could make a couple posts with different things that you share out. One day it's a craft idea, one day it's a recipe, one day it's tips about how to prep your home for the holidays. And you could even have that lead into the coming months with Thanksgiving and Christmas. And even make a blog post or a continued newsletter of it. Always, while these things aren't directly driving users back to our websites for real estate purposes, these leads that you gather now, you're showing your personality. You're showing, that you can be someone who is, helpful and someone who has resources on your site, someone who cares about your neighborhood and the areas around you. So always a good idea to kind of put those feelers out there. All right, so lots of suggestions here. Feel free to take whichever ones are helpful or useful to you. And I'm not going to be walking through how to build a landing page again today because we did do that last week. There's lots of videos on it. There's lots of documentation on it. I have included in my guides anywhere where there's a blue highlighted link, it will link you to one of our support articles. So if you've never created a landing page before, you can watch a video from our YouTube channel or catch the support article. Lots of helpful text there. And same with text codes as well. So what we're going to be talking about today is the next part to, after we generate those new leads, what is next? What is our follow-up? Where are we directing them to? So we're both going to, if time allows, explore how to make a custom page for Halloween. And then also an automated follow-up message. Maybe that's a scheduled mass email. Maybe you decide to create a smart campaign that follows up with those Halloween leads specifically. So whatever works for you, let's play around with some of these options. Now, I definitely want to mention, if you guys have any questions at any time, I am watching that chat. So feel free to chat in any questions you have. If your questions are not directly related to today's topic, I might save them to the end. And I'll try to make sure that we stop at least 15 minutes before the end, and I'll reach out again for any KV Core related questions, because these sessions are open Q&A, and whether you have questions about what we're talking about today or something else in KV Core, I want to make sure we get those questions answered for you. All right. Where are the guides and replays posted? So I shared the guide out in the chat. I'll share the link out again, but then also they'll be added to Inside Real Estate's YouTube channel. I have not posted last week's just yet, but you can expect to find it in our YouTube channel. I'll show you where you would go specifically. So it's youtube.com/Inside Real Estate. I'll share that out in the chat. And if you head on over to our playlist page, there's a whole playlist called KV Core Success Meetups, Tips, Tricks, and Q&A. There's over 150 videos in there. So lots of content. You can watch any past recording there. I'll be posting, if not today, by tomorrow. And additionally, if you don't want to go search through it, there's also, the little magnifying glass. You could type in something like spooky special and pull it up. Okay. So I'll also make sure in the description to also post my guide there in case you guys can't click on it in the chat for some reason. All right. Okay, so jumping into KV Core, I mentioned last week we just created a real quick and dirty. I might put, if I was really posting this out, I might put a little bit more detail, a little bit more verbiage in here, but to each their own. Sometimes less is more. If you think about it, how short our attention spans are nowadays, sometimes it's helpful to give less and explain more later. So I created this link, and the example that I gave last week was just, for that list of haunted houses, you could create something just like a Google Doc. Just create a fresh one. Go to Ducks. And I could just create a blank one if I wanted to. And I could type out the information. That could be the link when I'm building that landing page. That could be where I link them to, just the information in a Google Doc. But if I want to encourage those users to go back to my KV Core website, there's always ways you could do it with a Google Doc too. You could create, maybe some squeeze page links or other links to your website for real estate information at the bottom of your Google Doc that could lead them there. But a really great way to do it is to create a custom page on your KV Core website and have that be where your landing page directs to. So ideally for that to work, we build the custom page before the landing page. So that way, I already have a page on my website that would have haunted houses in San Diego, and that would be the URL where I directed them to when they sign up on the landing page. So let's go back a couple steps and put those together in case that's not totally clear as to what I'm referring to. So in KV Core, if I wanted to build a custom page, I'd head on over to Web and IDX and to our website content. Under site content, there's a couple different things I could add here to my website. If you've never explored it, you can go and manually enter testimonials. You can also connect Zillow reviews to your KV Core website. Be aware if you have Zillow reviews and you're not seeing this button, you do have to manually enter at least one testimonial first. So just a little side note. You also may or may not be aware that you've got service areas and SEO. At the bottom of your websites, not to get too off track, you'll have areas we cover. And based on your MLS, all the different areas, and we've got a couple MLSs attached to this demo account, but based on your MLS, you'll have different links to the areas based on your MLS. And these just send users to other additional helpful information, gives examples of most expensive, least expensive homes in the area, town versus county statistics. So really great information in there already. But if you wanted to, you can adjust which areas present. So you can always remove some of those if you need to. And you can also add in things like keywords or additional text or photo images. You could even add HTML. Maybe you want to include a YouTube video on there. So that's service areas and SEO. But today we're headed to custom pages. Oh, and so sorry if you missed it earlier. Not sure who grabbed that question in the chat. How do we add bats for Halloween to your website? There is a support article I've got in my guide for you guys. If you go down to the bottom, how to update your website for Halloween, that'll show you how to get the bats. And if you want to watch a video of how to do that, YouTube video, get your KV Core website ready for the Halloween, with the Halloween spirit. That will lead you also to how to create those bats. Actually, just want to double check that that's linked to the correct place. Okay, there it is. Looked like when I was hovering over it had a different one. Of course. All right, so let's create a custom page. So again, Web and IDX, site content, and then I went and clicked on custom pages. Here we are. I'm going to go ahead and click on create a new page. Now, every time I create a page, it's going to ask for both a title and a category. So something very important to understand with your custom pages. On your website, you'll have a few default areas. You'll have your search tab. I've renamed mine Find My Dream Home, but it's essentially my search tab where they can search through listings. You'll all have a sell tab where users can sign up for home valuations. If your brokerage has linked lenders, you'll probably have a finance tab on your page. That's not going to be for everybody, but a lot of you out there will likely see that on your site. And then you'll usually have a tab for your agent. This is going to have your profile information. This is where your testimonials will be stored, blog posts if you start a blog through your website. And then you might also have a resources tab. Now I removed my resources tab and instead I added a couple different drop downs here. Now, coming soon in San Diego, the first thing mentioned on this drop down, and I'll make it a little larger just in case this is hard to see. Coming soon to San Diego, this is a custom page. Hot listings, which is the title of the drop down, is a custom category. You can share on your website, you can add up to 4 different custom pages or custom categories, and you can have a mixture as well. So right now I've got hot listings, preferred vendors, and area-specific information displayed. These are all custom categories. But if I want to just, preferred plumbers to display by itself, I could have just this custom page display instead of the preferred vendors. If that doesn't make sense, again, we'll walk through this and I'll add my custom page to the top so you can see what that looks like. Someone said when you click on Find My Dream Home, what's the results of that search? It just takes me to the search page in general. So then they would add in the area, beds, baths, whatever criteria that they wanted to. So it leads to the map and leads to, search results just based on my MLS. And again, this test account is linked to multiple MLSs, hence why there's lots of hot spots on this map. All right. So custom page. So the title of our custom page is, let's play with the haunted houses theme. So best haunted houses in San Diego. And then the category. Now I've already created a couple custom pages, so I've got some categories in the bank. I would probably put this in my category of San Diego activities. This is an activity page or is a category that has different activity pages in San Diego. I've done a couple custom pages on this before. If you've never created a custom page before, you won't have a drop-down menu, so you'll create a new category. And, whatever area that you're focusing on, maybe do something like activities in that area. Or if you're using a different example from our example list here, maybe it's charity fundraisers. Maybe your category is contests, local contests, or open houses. So feel free to create a custom page on whatever works for your purposes. But for me, I'm going to put this in San Diego activities. Now, next we're going to add in content. When I did the Google Doc example, I mentioned, just typing it into a Google Doc. Again, you can search online if you need some inspiration. Haunted houses in San Diego. And I would, rather than, simply, you could technically link it to an outside source, but it's always a good idea to, use this material in your own words. Maybe look at a couple different sources. Don't rely just on the first one that you click on. But I could, maybe take some examples from a couple different ones and word it in my own language. So maybe on my custom page, I add in, I'd probably add in first, probably wouldn't copy and paste entirely. And I'd add in a little message at the top, make it a little personalized, a little blog. So I've been working in real estate, in San Diego for however many years. As I've lived here or worked here, I've noticed that these are popular spots that I'm regularly referred to, or, however the subject pertains to you. But give a little, maybe a couple short sentences about your experience, tie it into you, why you're recommending this, your expertise. Give a little bit of your personality there. And then, of course, feel free to list your material. Again, I would reword whatever it is that you're sharing here. So this is one way that you could do it. You could type the content in, you can upload photos if you like, feel free to change the font, the sizing to whatever works for you. Alternatively, you could link them to another page. I get the question quite a lot with agents that are new to KV Core that, some of you guys out there might already have an existing website that you've put a lot of work into. Now, if you, for when creating a custom page, if you have resources on your past website, whether it's about Halloween or not, whatever it is you want to create a custom page for, you can always, just link them to the resources or whatever you have on your other website as well. So that way, if you're exploring KV Core, they can also, access the tools you have for your existing website if you decide to keep that as well. So just something I like to mention, I get a lot of users that say, how can we kind of connect the two if we want to keep our existing site? You could do something like that with a custom page. So maybe instead of the content, I just want to link them to an external page. Again, I don't recommend just copying and pasting someone else's work and passing it off as your own. But for things like, on my website, I've got preferred vendors. If these are vendors that I recommend out to my clients, preferred plumbers, house cleaners, photographers, staging, anything that I want to recommend, that might be a good thing to create a custom page for. And rather than writing a whole speech about why I recommend them, I could just link to their website. So it could be a direct link to them. So to give you some inspiration on why, in some cases, you might want to add in the content handwrite that, or in some cases where you might want to just simply point your users to another URL. Now, if I add in a URL, then it's not going to use the content. So this is an either or situation. So just be aware of that. If I pop in a URL here, it takes them straight to the page. If I add in content, do I have content on one of these? Let's find out. Okay. But if I had content, then it would take me to a page with the written content. All right. So I'm going to remove the URL. We'll keep the content there. Slug, that's created for you automatically. It's based off the title that you've got there. All that slug means, it is what's going to be on the page. So say if I went coming soon to San Diego, it would have my website. It would have my website URL dash, coming soon to San Diego. So that's all the slug means, is just kind of the addition to that URL that's being created for this page. So nothing that you really have to worry about. You could edit that if you wanted to. That's why it's showcased there, if you wanted to change the title of the slug. Now, meta tag description and meta tag keywords. This is where it really helps your website with the overall, SEO value. Adding this custom content can help your page be discovered. So if I do a Google search for, we've got haunted houses in San Diego, we can see the highlighted words, haunted houses. As I scroll down here a little bit, haunted house in San Diego. Those are the meta tag keywords that pull up. The description here, is there a good haunted house in San Diego or Tijuana? We go to SD every year, blah, 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 blah. That is, the first couple pages or first couple sentences, but that's also kind of their meta tag description. So experience San Diego's most iconic attraction, the Whaley House. That's their description. So that's kind of what we're adding in here when we create a custom page. So a description is a 2-sentence overview. Keywords are individual words that when someone does a Google search, it's what's going to direct them back to your page. So I might add something like my recommended picks for haunted houses in San Diego, and then add another sentence about that. For meta tag keywords, I might put in things like San Diego, and just separate them with a comma. San Diego, haunted house, obviously, and add as many more that I can think of. Add my own name, add real estate, whatever's going to help you. And again, that's going to help your page be more easily found. RSS property feed. We're not going to use that for today's purposes. You can add a feed to your custom pages. So you could add that in as well. And then as well, add to child sites. If you do see this on your page, if you're just an individual agent, your website is considered a child site. It's your larger office or companies that control the parent sites, so to speak. So you won't be able to make any updates to any website beyond your own. So child sites, doesn't really matter if you hit yes or no here. Any of your custom pages are only impacting your own. If I have any admins on the call that's creating a custom page for their larger company or office sites, be aware that if you say yes to add to child sites, you're also adding this custom page to all of your agent sites as well. So it has a trickle-down effect if you are an admin working on a company, office, or team site. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and hit save. And we're not quite done yet. We've created the custom page. Again, I just did that real quick and dirty. Obviously, if you're creating this for your businesses, take a little time. Make sure you fill it out. Make sure it looks the way you want it to. And then, and let's see in the chat. Let's see, how can you deactivate the Halloween oriented page, but save it to adapt and use the following year? Yeah, absolutely. So you can always come here and you can unpublish them as well. But if you're controlling what displays on your website, so right now, for most of you guys, if you created a custom page and you had a tab up here at the top, I mentioned you guys all have a search tab, a sell tab, or your agent tab. And most of you guys have a tab at the top. It's going to be a custom category that's going to say resources. If you have a resources page and you create a custom page, your custom page will pop up under your resources page. But since I've removed resources, and I've specifically chosen what categories I have displayed here, even though I created that custom page, it's not currently displaying on my website. So that's kind of part 2. So that's what we're going to do next. We're going to head into our website settings, and we're going to make that page display. Okay? So that's what we're going to do next. And let's see, someone all said, is there a learning track or area of webinars or videos on the Open House app? I can't find any. You might find on the YouTube channel. I don't know that we've done kind of a follow along of the Open House app. There is some videos on best practices with open houses, but I don't know if we have one that specifically kind of shares our screen and shows the Open House app. Most of it should be pretty, I would say, intuitive. Let me grab an article about the Open House app. If you haven't seen that already, I might recommend that. But if you feel like you're working or using the app as it should be used and you're having any issues, you can always chat into our support team about it. But I will say there isn't, I think just because it's simply an app, and it's a little trickier to kind of show an app online, I don't think we've really done a deep dive on the app. I also feel like that would be a very short webinar if we taught that, but probably wouldn't hurt. We might have a video about that coming up sometime in the future, but just to help you in the meantime, there's that support article. All right, I have an agent holding their first open house and wants to use it and don't want her to feel lost. Okay, yeah. Definitely the support article. I would check our YouTube channel, type in open house. There might be some results like best practices, but it won't be I don't think there's any kind of play-by-play follow along with me while I do an open house on the app, but that sounds like it'd be a really fun topic to do in the future. So maybe one day. All right, so we've got our custom page. We're going to go back to Web and IDX. And this time I'm going to head to website settings. All right, from website settings, let's scroll to the top. I do want to preface this by saying that we've got a lot of people joined on today's session. Love to see all of you guys here, but you guys will all be joined likely from different brokerages. And depending on your brokerage, you might see different information in your Web and IDX settings. So some of you might have different templates available depending on your brokerage. You all pretty much should have the opportunity to change your background color if you want to, background image, and to change what we're doing here today, which is your custom navigation. So custom navigation is where I can, if I want to rename any of my headers. So I mentioned this is technically usually says search by default. I've changed mine to say find my dream home. Web and IDX website settings. If you head to your custom navigation, this is where you could change the titles of those. So that's why mine says find my dream home. I just changed that. Same with the sell tab, finance tab, resources, etc. You will notice, I don't think there is an option to change your My Agents tab. I think that stays the same. All right, and I've said I disabled my resource page. So I've got that disabled instead, or I'm not currently showing a custom page, I should say. Instead, I've got a couple custom categories displayed on my website. So we see There's no custom pages, but I've got hot listings, preferred vendors, and area specific information, just like we have listed up here. These are my 3 custom categories. Now, I mentioned in total, you can add 4 additional pages or categories. So I could have a 4th category, I could have 4 pages instead of the categories, or I could do a combination. So all I'm going to do here is I'm going to add in my custom page about best haunted. Oh, I did best haunted house in San Diego. In hindsight, I would probably type best haunted houses in San Diego, but considering I only added 1, I guess that's fitting, right? All right, so that's another incentive. If you're doing this on your own, double check your work, or even have a friend or a loved one check out your website, double check your work before you go and promote this out. All right, so I chose my custom page that I've already created, and then I'm going to hit save. Another pro tip, if you're ever in your Web and IDX and you're in your edit settings page, if you scroll down here, it's a long page. There's a lot of different categories. If you don't know where to skip to, it might be hard to find what you're looking for. Say I wanted to add, say, a YouTube video, and I'm not sure where to find that. If you're using just a PC, Control F on this page can be really helpful. So if I wanted to add something like a custom page, I can type page, do Control F, type in page, and it's going to flip me. It's going to show all the places, tongue-tied, all the places where it mentions page or custom pages on my website settings. So it can be a little bit quick to find if you're struggling to look for it. All right, so I've saved this and it says my website settings are saved. It's usually pretty instantaneous. So let's go and refresh my Kiwi Core website. Because we probably have all different levels of users on this call potentially. If you are brand new to Kiwi Core and you don't know where to find your website, if you click on Web and IDX, your website URL is listed here. Or additionally, if you go to your name in the upper right-hand corner, this little hidden menu, you'll usually find a little globe icon that'll take you to your website. I just happen to have it already open. So let's double check what that looks like. I'm going to go back to my home page. But we can see there it is up, best haunted house in San Diego. And if they go to click there, it's going to take them to the custom page content that I entered. Now, again, if I wanted to link people to this when I build my haunted houses landing page, I would create this custom page first, then go to Kiwi Core, go to my lead engine landing pages, build out my landing pages. If you remember from last time, you follow along with the instructions left to right, make sure you're filling out all this information. And this custom page URL, I just go and copy that. That's where I would be leading them to. Okay, I'm going to pause here, stop for questions, check the chats, and then we'll also talk a little bit about, if there's, time allowing, we'll talk a little bit about follow-up messages. All right, so let's see. Oh, yep. And someone says she does virtual learning on the app via the app and Zoom on your phone. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. It's something I think we've done for the main Kiwi Core app. I just don't think we've done it for the Open House app. But yes, absolutely possible to just hold Zoom on your phone. Someone also asked in the chat, will this recording be posted on the YouTube channel? Yes, absolutely. If I don't post it there today, you should expect it probably by tomorrow. And also, if you grabbed the guide, let me go ahead and put in a spot. This was our past sessions recording. Let's put in the date for today's date as well. Recording. So once this renders through Zoom, I'll come back and update the support article. So you can go back and watch this video again if you like. All right, and then in the Q&A, how do you have that custom site editor? So in Web and IDX, are you talking about go to site editor? Is that what you're referring to? Apologize, I'm not sure how long ago I missed this. Looks like I missed it about 5 minutes ago. So if that's what you're mentioning, I think most users should have access to the site editor, although I don't recommend most users going to the site editor unless you know how to use HTML. Site editor is where you could put in, coding and kind of manually edit your website. So not what I would recommend for users not that experienced with website editing. So it is an option here, but word of warning for those that are not kind of tech savvy in that way, not what I would recommend using if you want to edit your site. We've got a lot of easy to use updates through things like your settings and, if you want to add or remove widgets. And those are a little bit more user friendly for every level, I would say. Let's see. Elmer said, can we create a Facebook post from a blank template? If so, where is the blank template? Facebook post from a blank template. I'm not sure if I understand what you mean. Are you talking about with those landing pages, posting this to Facebook? Well, you can create the landing pages. There's some kind of blank options when you go to build those. If I go to build a landing page, this is kind of the blank option. I can remove the text and things like that. And after you build it, you can post those to your social media pages or, any page that we create. If you want to share, say, your custom page that you built on Facebook, while there isn't a direct link to post that to Facebook, you grab that URL, put it in a Facebook post. So I note too, I apologize if I'm not quite understanding your question when it comes to a Facebook post from a blank template. There's lots of different ways that you could post to Facebook using KV Core, depending on your needs. Okay. I create posts in Canva and would like to post it so it links back to my website. I'm sure in Canva you could embed links that link back to areas of your website, or you could create a custom page and upload images or things that you've created for Canva. With the custom pages, when you build them, say you design an image in Canva that you want to be the background for your custom page, it is possible to choose a custom background option. So hopefully that's closer to the answer that you're looking for. Hopefully that covered it. And then does KV Core send all emails, texts to spouse if we've entered their name, their info in the profile? Ooh, great question. If you're newer to KV Core and maybe you're still in the stage where you're adding in contacts, very important to note that for every contact you enter, whether you manually enter them or you import them in their contact record, if you go to their profile details, there is spots for spouse information. You can enter spouse first name, last name, title, email, phone number, even a spouse birth date. But be aware that if you add in spouse information to their profile details, it's simply a placeholder. It holds that information so you have it on record. If I were to send this contact here, Jamie, send him an email right now, that email is only going to his primary email that's listed right here. It's not also going to his spouse if I had his spouse included. Same thing with phone number. If I had Jamie's phone number and I, gave a call or sent a text message, it's only going to whatever cell phone he has listed here. It's not also going to the phone numbers in the profile details. So great question. So if you want to reach out to both spouses separately, best practice is to add them in as separate contacts. So we have Jamie Saldago here. We'll pretend, Jamie's spouse, we'll just call her Sarah Saldago. I would add Sarah as a separate contact. And a little pro tip to help link them together or to help my memory. If they have the same last name, I might give them both the same hashtag of the Saldagos. So that way, if I were to search by that hashtag, I can pull them both up at once. I might also add myself something like a custom note here, something along the lines of his wife is in the system as Sarah Sal. Already forgotten the spelling, but you would obviously spell that, and you can even pin it to the top of their record. So that way it's one of the first things you see in his timeline as a little reminder to me every time I open him up. All right. Do you have to type disable to disable the label? No. So what Constance is talking about in Web and IDX, heading back to my website settings, about when we went to custom navigation and we chose which custom pages or custom categories are displayed. So very important if we're updating our website for any holiday, we want to be able to undo that later, right? So say Halloween has passed and I no longer want to showcase best haunted houses in San Diego. I want to showcase, some charity for the Thanksgiving holiday. All I have to do is hit the X and save it. Always want to save it. And then it will disable that page. So it'll no longer be displayed on my website. So now if I go and refresh, might take a second, but that page is going to disappear. So, and then I could change it to whatever page I like. So we'll just keep that up for now. All right. Penny says, yesterday I added bats in a Halloween video on my website. They both show up on my laptop. The video doesn't show up when I bring up the website with my cell phone, but the bats do. I believe it should still show even when you're on your phone. I will say, so the one disadvantage of using a video rather than a stagnant image is depending on the speed of the internet service, that video can sometimes have a delay or sometimes not load as perfectly for someone with, maybe that doesn't have great internet or a slower computer. So we do sometimes see that with the videos. If that's a concern of yours, maybe you've got a lot of clients that are perhaps elderly or maybe don't have, really advanced technology or, are potentially, only checking this on their phones. A stagnant image might be better just for loading. The bats should work regardless. I don't think that really slows anything down, but I have noticed the background videos over an image can sometimes be a little bit slower. Mean custom site template, not edit. So are you talking about custom site templates? Oh, you're talking about these custom templates for the website. Yes. So depending on your brokerage, some brokerages do have some of the templates disabled. So if you're not seeing them on your side, that may be why. I think most brokerages, if they're not already showing all the templates, a lot of brokerages are making those updates. So if you don't see them now, keep checking back. You may see more template options in the future. If you really want to go and be above and beyond, in our marketplace, there's options to purchase semi-custom and fully custom site templates as well. Oh, and then someone said, how do we send it to the spouse then? So back to my earlier question, again, I would add both spouses as separate contacts in the CRM. So that way you can include both of them when you send out an email. Just set it in mass to both. And then spouse topic, can you get an envelope to print both the primary person and the spouse? So in the Smart CRM, there is an option from your More Actions dropdown. I could, check off contacts and I could print address labels. You do have options now. This is actually, I think, a newer update to include spouses on the labels. Include titles like Mr., Mrs. Smith if you have those in that contact record, or simply include current resident on the labels. So you can export that with spouses. Yes. Great question, Penny. And there is not a way you can merge contacts, but that would be if I had duplicates of the same contacts. So if I accidentally added Jamie in here twice, but one version of Jamie has his preferred phone number and one version of Jamie has his preferred email, I could merge those contacts and it would make it one, but it won't. So say if both contacts had a phone number, it's only going to keep the primary phone number. So it won't work in the workaround that you're trying to use it for, Elmer. So I would not recommend merging spouses together. So just to be aware of that. All right. But yeah, I mean, again, if Jamie and his wife both had hashtag the Saldaggos, I could effectively search by that hashtag the Salgados. I don't actually have this as a hashtag in here, so if I hit search, it's not going to pull anything up. But if they both had that hashtag, I could search by it, pull them both up, and then check them off and send an email to both of them. And then something else that you can do as well, for say, maybe it's search alerts that you're sending to one spouse and the other spouse also wants to be included. When you create a search alert, you can choose to CC someone else on it. So you could CC the spouse on the search alert just through, one contact record instead of a second one. So for those kind of emails, you can send it to both parties. Hope that helps. All right, folks, we only have a few minutes left. Any last minute questions? Or I could talk really quickly. And again, we only have a few moments, but we could talk really quickly about follow-up messages as well. As I'm not seeing any questions just yet, I'll quickly talk about follow-up messages. So another key thing that we talked about when we created landing pages last week is we talked about the importance of adding in a hashtag. So that way, every lead that's captured by signing up for our landing page, they all have a handy tag that we can search by in the CRM. So I think for the landing page I created last time, and if you ever need a refresher, if you can't remember what hashtags you added, go to your lead engine. I can always pull up past landing pages. So here's past landing pages. And you could see, the ones that you've created previously. So I created this one. The hashtag was haunted landing. That one's pretty easy for me to remember. That's the hashtag associated with this landing page. But, I could always view it if I needed to double check my work. So hashtag is haunted landings. That means every lead that signs up through that landing page is going to be assigned that hashtag when they enter my CRM. What I could do is I could use that hashtag to trigger a follow-up message. Now, for most new leads that enter your KV Core platform, you probably have by default, unless you went and turned it off, through your marketing tab, through Smart Campaigns, you probably have something like our default new lead buyer Smart Campaign turned on, and we can have that just trigger for them. You could craft your own campaign if you wanted to, and you could have it triggered by your hashtag. So when a lead comes in with the hashtag haunted landing, I want them to, receive this campaign. So you just kind of flesh it out first. So it's going to trigger by the hashtag. It's designed for, say buyers or everyone. Name it, give it some sort of naming convention that's helpful to you. Some pro tips. A lot of times when I'm creating my own campaigns, I'll add my initials in there somewhere. So that way I can easily search by my initials, pull up all the campaigns I've created. Additionally, I know some users might label their campaigns by date. So you can pull it up by date if that's helpful to you. And then give it something like haunted house campaign. Give it some sort of description. Again, you're the only one who sees this. And you review and add. After you've created your campaign, so here's my haunted house campaign, you can go in and you can add in actions like emails and text messages and calls. That's if you wanted to do a series of follow-up. Another great method, if you just want to send them 1 or 2 follow-up messages, is to schedule a mass email in advance. Scheduled mass emails is also through your marketing tab. I know I'm doing this kind of fast because we're right at the end right here. I don't want to keep you guys too long, but you can also choose contacts by your hashtag. So haunted landing. And you could have a message. We do have some holiday templates. I don't believe there's any by default for Halloween. There's plenty for Thanksgiving, for Christmas, for New Year's that you can find, but I don't think there's one for Halloween. But if you want to create your own really quickly, advanced email editor, and I would pop in, a couple key ingredients. Doesn't have to be too difficult. Add in an image, Add in a box of text, whatever your message is, and then maybe finish it with either, a button to resources on your website or maybe links to your social media pages. And with this image, you can find lots of great Halloween holiday photos online. Pexels is a great one, Unsplash. But additionally, if I go to upload, if I don't already have an image on my computer, you can search for free photos through KV Core. So I can search images for Halloween images and I could choose one to import. That's pretty spooky. And it's going to take a second to load in your library, but I could go and I could just insert it. Add whatever text you like. If you want to make your text a little bit personalized for each person, pro tip, add a merge tag. Add a merge tag that's going to merge in their first name to that message, and then type in whatever you want to say. The buttons, maybe you want that button to be click here to sign up for a free market report, or to go to my custom page on haunted houses, and you just pop the URL in there. And then same with your social media links. Feel free to remove these buttons if you don't use Twitter. Just remove it and just pop in your links and send it on out. All right, we are over time. That's all I have time for here today. Thank you guys so much for joining. I hope that gave, I know it was a little bit of a teaser, but I hope that helped answer everybody's questions. We had some great ones there. Oh, is there an opt out there? If they do respond back, I believe with messages like stop or unsubscribe, it can unsubscribe them. There is a lot of pre-created templates in KV Core if you want to encourage or let them know about opt-in information. And of course, you can add your own verbiage if you want to. For more information on opting out or unsubscribing, we've got a lot of great support articles. I would recommend checking them out. All right. I apologize at the end of time here, but thank you guys so much for joining. I will make sure to add this recording to today's guide. If you missed it, last chance, posted it in the chat. And then additionally, if you're checking out the Inside Real Estate Facebook discussion group and the YouTube channel, we'll be posting the recording there as well, along with the guide. So thanks so much for joining. Have a wonderful rest of your day and a very fabulous Halloween holiday. Take care.